Millionaire missed his flight saving a missing little boy who ran to him crying, "Please help me find my mummy." The little boy's fingers were ice cold when they wrapped around Holden's leg. His voice cracked, desperate and small. "Please, please, help me. I can't find my mummy." Holden looked down, frozen. The child's face was soaked with tears. His brown eyes were wild with terror. In his arms he clutched a stuffed giraffe like it was the only thing keeping him from disappearing completely. "I don't know where she went." The boy's voice broke. "Please don't leave me." Around them, thousands of people rushed past. Boarding calls echoed overhead. Luggage wheels clattered against tile. Nobody stopped. Nobody noticed. Just a man in an expensive suit and a terrified child holding onto him like a lifeline. Holden's phone buzzed in his pocket. His assistant. His flight was boarding. A $15 million deal waited in Boston. Everything he'd worked for. Everything that mattered. Except when he looked into those terrified eyes, none of it mattered anymore. "Hey." Holden's voice came out softer than he'd heard it in years. He knelt down slowly. "Hey, buddy, I've got you. You're safe now." The boy sobbed harder, his small body shaking. "What's your name?" "Finn." "Finn. That's a strong name. I'm Holden, and I promise you, we're going to find your mum, okay?" Somewhere across the terminal, a woman was screaming her son's name. Her worst nightmare was unfolding in real time, and she had no idea that a stranger was about to change all three of their lives forever. Because this isn't just a story about a missed flight. This is a story about what happens when we stop running long enough to see each other, when we choose compassion over convenience, when a single moment of staying becomes the beginning of everything. Have you ever lost someone you love in a crowd, even for just 30 seconds? Do you remember that cold wave of panic that crashed over you? That heart-stopping fear? Now imagine you're the parent. Imagine your child is gone, vanished into a sea of strangers. Every second feels like a lifetime. Every face that isn't theirs feels like another door closing. This is the story of Harper, a single mother whose morning started with wedding preparations and ended with her son disappearing into an airport crowd while she wasn't looking. This is the story of Holden, a millionaire who had everything money could buy and nothing that actually mattered. A man so successful he'd forgotten what it felt like to be needed. And this is the story of Finn, a 6-year-old boy who got lost and ran to exactly the right stranger. What happened next wasn't just a rescue. It was a revelation, a collision of 3 broken pieces that somehow fit together perfectly. This story has a twist you won't see coming, a truth that brings everything full circle. So stay with me, because sometimes the people we save end up saving us right back. Welcome to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, where every story teaches us something about love, life, and second chances. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss what happens next. And if this story touches your heart, let me know in the comments. Now, let's dive in. The morning sun spilled through the high windows of Harper's small apartment, casting golden streaks across the worn hardwood floor. The light touched everything. The photographs on the wall, all featuring a little boy with bright eyes and an infectious smile. The stack of bills on the kitchen counter, organized and paper-clipped. The crayon drawings stuck to the refrigerator with alphabet magnets. This was a home built on love and held together by determination. Harper moved through the space with practiced efficiency, her blonde hair pulled back in a messy bun, her face still soft with sleep. She was 31 years old and carried the kind of beauty that came from strength rather than ease. There were laugh lines around her eyes, worry lines on her forehead. Every one of them earned, "Finn, baby, time to wake up." Her voice was gentle as she pushed open his bedroom door. "We've got a plane to catch." The room was small but carefully arranged. A twin bed with spaceship sheets, a bookshelf overflowing with picture books, a bin of toy cars and action figures, and in the bed, buried under blankets, was Finn, 6 years old, all wild brown hair and sleepy confusion. "Is it morning already?" His voice was muffled. "It's past morning. We overslept, sweetheart. We need to hurry." Finn sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes. His stuffed giraffe, Stretch, was tangled in the blankets beside him. The toy was worn from years of love, one button eye slightly loose, the yellow fabric faded in spots. But to Finn, Stretch was perfect. "Is today Aunt Paige's wedding?" "Almost, baby. But first, We have to fly to Boston. Remember? Finn's eyes lit up immediately. The airplane? Yes, the airplane. Will the clouds be fluffy? Harper laughed, kneeling beside his bed to help him untangle from the sheets. I hope so. Can Stretch sit by the window? We'll see what we can do. She kissed his forehead, breathing in the scent of him. Apple shampoo and little boy and something uniquely Finn. Her entire world in one small person. Come on. Let's get you dressed. 20 minutes later, the apartment was organized chaos. Harper zipped a suitcase while balancing her phone between her shoulder and ear. On the other end, her sister Paige's voice bubbled with excitement. You're coming today, right? Please tell me you're coming today. We're leaving for the airport right now, Harper said, double-checking the contents of Finn's backpack. Stretch, check. Coloring books, check. Snacks, check. I can't believe I'm getting married tomorrow. Paige's voice cracked slightly. I can't believe this is happening. Believe it. You found a good one. You'll be there for the rehearsal tonight? We land at 2. I'll be there, and Finn's ready to be the best ring bearer in history. Harper glanced over at her son, who was currently trying to fit his entire collection of toy cars into his backpack. He's ready. I love you both so much. Love you too, Pi. See you soon. Harper ended the call and turned to Finn. Okay, mister. We can bring 3 cars, not 12. But Mummy, what if I get bored? Then you have your coloring book, and Stretch, and the window to look out of. Finn considered this seriously, then carefully selected 3 cars and tucked them into his backpack. Harper smiled. He was so much like her. Thoughtful, careful with choices. Old soul in a young body. She grabbed their suitcase in Finn's hand, taking one last look around the apartment. The space was small. The furniture was second-hand. The walls needed paint. But it was theirs. She'd built this life from nothing. Just her and Finn against the world. Ready for an adventure? She asked. Finn grinned up at her, dimples flashing. Ready. The Uber ride to the airport was thick with Miami traffic. Cars honked. Vendors weaved between vehicles at red lights selling bottles of water and packages of gum. Billboard advertisements loomed overhead, bright and overwhelming. Harper watched the city pass by through the window, her mind running through mental checklists. Tickets, identification, Finn's medication for his allergies, the wedding gift, carefully wrapped and tucked into her suitcase. Beside her, Finn pressed his face against the window, watching everything with wide eyes. Mummy, why are there so many cars? Because everyone's trying to get somewhere, baby. Where are they going? Harper smiled. Everywhere. Work. Home. The airport, like us. Everyone's got somewhere to be. Do you think the pilot will let me see the cockpit? Maybe. If you ask nicely. I'll ask very nicely. I know you will. The airport appeared ahead of them, massive and gleaming in the late morning sun. Finn's mouth fell open. It's so big. It is. How many airplanes are there? A lot. More than 100? Probably. More than 1,000? Harper laughed. Maybe. We'll count them while we wait. The Uber pulled up to the departure terminal. Harper paid, thanked the driver, and stepped out into the organized chaos of airport arrivals. People everywhere. Families hugging goodbye. Business travelers moving with purpose. The automatic doors slid open, and they stepped inside. The terminal buzzed with energy. Announcements crackled overhead in English and Spanish. Screens displayed flight times and gate numbers in endless scrolling lists. The smell of coffee and cinnamon rolls drifted from nearby cafes. Luggage wheels clattered across tile floors. Babies cried. Couples argued. Somewhere, someone laughed. Harper tightened her grip on Finn's hand. Stay close to me, okay? No running. Finn nodded, his eyes still wide as he tried to take everything in. The ceiling was so high. The windows were so tall. Everything was shiny and overwhelming. They made their way through the crowd toward the check-in kiosks. Harper's heart rate picked up slightly. She hated crowds. Hated the feeling of being lost in a sea of strangers. But they had a flight to catch and a wedding to get to. Just get through security, she told herself. Just get to the gate. Then you can breathe. The check-in kiosks were busy but moving. Harper found an available screen and set down her purse. She still held Finn's hand. Okay, baby. Stand right here while Mummy checks us in. Don't move. Okay. She pulled out her phone, accessing their mobile boarding passes, clicked through the screens, entered their confirmation number. The machine beeped and processed. "Just need our IDs," she muttered, reaching for her purse. She let go of Finn's hand, just for a second, just long enough to unzip the inside pocket where she kept their documents. Her fingers found the passports, pulled them out. She turned, smiling, ready to show Finn their boarding passes. He wasn't there. "Finn?" Her voice was casual at first, expecting him to be right behind her. Maybe he'd bent down to tie his shoe. Maybe he was looking at something on the ground. But when she turned in a full circle, scanning the immediate area, there was no red hoodie, no brown curly hair, no little boy clutching a stuffed giraffe. "Finn?" Louder now, an edge of worry creeping in. People moved past her. A businessman on his phone, a family with 3 young children, an elderly couple holding hands, but not Finn. Harper's heart began to race. "Finn!" She abandoned the kiosk and walked quickly toward the seating area. Maybe he'd wandered over to look at something. He was curious, easily distracted. He'd just gotten turned around, but he wasn't at the seats. She spun and headed toward the bathrooms. Maybe he'd needed to go and didn't want to interrupt her. She pushed open the men's room door slightly. "Finn? Baby, are you in here?" A man washing his hands looked at her strangely. She backed out. Her breathing was getting faster, shorter. She ran to the food court, scanning every table, checked behind the coffee counter, looked under benches. Her voice was getting louder, more desperate. "Finn! Finn, where are you?" People started to notice. A woman approached, concerned. "Are you okay? My son. I can't find my son. What does he look like?" Harper could barely form words. 6 years old, red hoodie, brown hair. He is a stuffed giraffe. His name is Finn. "Please, have you seen him?" The woman shook her head. "I'm sorry. Let me help you look." But Harper was already moving, running now, past the gates, past the shops, checking every corner, every shadow. Her vision was starting to blur with tears. How long had it been? 2 minutes? 5? It felt like hours. Her mind spiraled into dark places. What if someone took him? What if he wandered outside? What if he's scared and calling for me and I can't hear him? She thought of his face, his smile, the way he said mummy when he was scared, the way he held Stretch when he slept, the sound of his laugh, the feel of his hand in hers. He was everything, her whole world, the reason she woke up every morning and kept fighting, and he was gone. Harper's legs gave out. She stumbled toward a support column and leaned against it, gasping for air. Her hands were shaking. Her chest felt like it was caving in. A security officer approached. "Ma'am, are you all right?" She looked up at him with wild eyes. "My son. I've lost my son." The officer's expression shifted immediately. He pulled out his radio. "What's his name?" "Finn. He's 6, red hoodie. He has a stuffed giraffe. Please, please, you have to help me find him." The officer spoke into his radio, calm and clear. "All units, we have a missing child. 6-year-old male named Finn. Last seen near Delta Check in kiosks. Red hoodie, carrying a stuffed giraffe. Initiate search protocol immediately." The announcement went out across the airport system. "Missing child alert. All available personnel respond." Harper could barely hear it. The world had narrowed to one terrible truth. Her baby was gone, and she didn't know if she'd ever see him again. Across the terminal, in a different part of the airport entirely, Holden Chase checked his watch for the 4th time in 2 minutes. 10:48. His flight boarded at 11:15. He was cutting it close. He moved through the crowd with the kind of confidence that came from years of navigating high-pressure situations. Tall, dark-haired, dressed in a perfectly tailored Navy suit with no tie. At 34, he'd built a financial consulting empire that advised some of the most powerful companies on the continent. He was used to things running smoothly, to plans executed perfectly, to being in control. Today, nothing was running smoothly. His private jet was in maintenance, which meant he was stuck flying commercial for the first time in 3 years. He'd forgotten how chaotic airports were. How many people, how much noise, how little efficiency. His phone buzzed. His assistant, "Mr. Chase, Your flight begins boarding in 27 minutes. The Boston team has confirmed the meeting location for 2 p.m. I'll be there, Holden said, weaving around a family with too much luggage. They're expecting the revised proposal. I have it. And the contract amendments? All prepared. His assistant hesitated. Sir, if you miss this flight, the next one doesn't land until after 5. You'll miss the entire first session. I won't miss it. He ended the call and picked up his pace. The gate was still 10 minutes away. His carry-on bag rolled smoothly behind him. Everything organized. Everything in its place. But as he walked, something felt off. A restlessness he couldn't name. He'd felt it for months now. A low-level dissatisfaction that followed him everywhere. To his penthouse apartment with its floor-to-ceiling windows and its immaculate empty rooms. To his corner office with its leather chairs and its view of the city. To his bed every night where he slept alone and woke up the same way. He had everything, and somehow it felt like nothing. His phone buzzed again. He glanced at it. A notification from his brother, Caleb. Still on for dinner next month? Holden typed back quickly. Absolutely. Caleb was 4 years younger. Lived in Seattle. Had a wife and a baby daughter. Sent photos constantly. Holden looked at them and felt something he couldn't quite name. Not jealousy. Something deeper. Longing, maybe. He shook his head and pocketed his phone. Focus. Get to Boston. Close the deal. That's what mattered. Except he'd been telling himself that for 12 years, and the deals kept closing, and the emptiness kept growing. He was so lost in thought that he almost didn't notice when it happened. One second he was walking toward his gate. The next, something small and terrified crashed into him. Arms wrapped around his leg. He stopped abruptly, looking down. A child, maybe 6 years old, face red and swollen from crying, eyes desperate and terrified, clutching a worn stuffed giraffe. And then the child spoke, and everything stopped. Please, the boy's voice cracked. Please help me. I can't find my mummy. Holden froze. The airport noise faded into static. The crowd disappeared. There was only this child, looking up at him like he was the only thing standing between safety and disaster. Please don't leave me. Holden's chest tightened. For a moment, he was 7 years old again, standing in a mall, holding his little brother's hand, then letting go, just for a second, just to look at something in a store window. When he turned back, Caleb was gone. 20 minutes of searching, 20 minutes of pure terror, 20 minutes of imagining the worst, until they'd found him, sobbing in the arms of a security guard. Holden had never forgotten the look in Caleb's eyes, the fear, the betrayal, the question that didn't need words. Why did you let go? And now, 27 years later, a different child was looking at him with the same terrified eyes. Holden's phone buzzed in his pocket. The boarding notification, his flight, the deal, none of it mattered. He knelt down slowly, bringing himself to the child's eye level. Hey, his voice came out gentle, softer than he'd heard it in years. Hey buddy, it's okay. You're safe now. The boy sobbed harder, his small body shaking. Are you hurt? Can you tell me if you're hurt anywhere? The child shook his head. Okay, that's good. That's really good. What's your name? Finn. Finn. Holden repeated it carefully. That's a strong name. I'm Holden. Finn's lip trembled. I was with my mummy, and then she was gone, and I don't know where she went. Okay, we're going to find her. I promise you, we're going to find your mom. But I need you to stay with me. Can you do that? Finn nodded, still clutching the giraffe. What's your friend's name? Holden gestured to the stuffed animal. Stretch. Stretch. That's a great name. Holden stood slowly, holding out his hand. Come on. We're going to find someone who can help us. Finn took his hand. It was so small, so cold. Holden's heart cracked open in a way he didn't know was possible. They walked through the terminal together. Holden kept his pace slow, matching Finn's smaller steps. People passed by, most not even glancing at them. Those who did probably assumed Finn was his son. When Finn started to lag, clearly exhausted from fear and crying, Holden made a decision. He stopped and crouched down again. Finn, I'm going to pick you up now. Is that okay? Finn nodded. Holden lifted him carefully. The boy was light, all limbs and fear and trust. He settled against Holden's chest, his head on his shoulder, still holding Stretch between them. Holden felt the weight of him, the warmth, the absolute vulnerability, and something fundamental shifted inside him. "What does your mum look like?" he asked quietly as they walked. "She has yellow hair, like sunshine, and she's pretty, and she smells like cookies." Holden smiled despite everything. "That's helpful. What's her name?" "Harper." "Harper. Okay. We're going to find Harper." He made his way to the nearest security checkpoint. An officer saw them approaching and stood immediately. "This little boy is lost," Holden said calmly. "He said he can't find his mother." The officer's eyes widened. He pulled out his radio. "What's his name?" "Finn." The officer spoke into the radio. "This is Checkpoint 7. I have the missing child. Repeat. I have Finn. He's safe and unharmed." The response came back immediately. "Mother is in Terminal B. She's been searching for 30 minutes. Escort her over now." The officer looked at Holden. "Thank you for bringing him here, sir. I'd like to stay, if that's all right, until his mother arrives." The officer nodded. "Of course." They moved to a quiet area near the checkpoint. Holden sat down in one of the plastic chairs, still holding Finn. The boy hadn't let go of him. "Are you going to leave?" Finn asked in a small voice. Holden looked down at him, saw the fear still there, the uncertainty. "No," he said firmly. "I'm staying right here until your mum comes. I promise." Finn's eyes searched his face. "What if she can't find me?" "She will. She's looking for you right now, and she's going to be so happy to see you." "Will she be mad?" Holden's throat tightened. "No, buddy. She's not going to be mad. When someone loves you this much, they don't get mad. They just get scared, and then they get really, really happy when they find you again." Finn seemed to consider this. Then, quietly, "I was scared too. I know. But you're safe now, because you helped me." Holden didn't trust himself to speak for a moment. He just nodded. The officer was talking into his radio, coordinating. Holden's phone buzzed again. Another boarding notification. Final call. He dismissed it without looking. Finn shifted in his arms. "Mr. Holden?" "Yeah, buddy. Thank you for not leaving me." And there it was, the thing Holden hadn't known he'd been searching for. The thing that made everything else, all the money and success and achievement, feel hollow. Purpose. "You're welcome," he said quietly. They sat together in silence, waiting. Holden felt Finn's breathing slow down, becoming steadier. The child's grip on Stretch loosened slightly. Then, suddenly, there were running footsteps. Holden looked up. A woman was sprinting toward them, blonde hair wild, face streaked with tears, eyes searching desperately until they landed on the small figure in Holden's arms. "Finn!" The sound that came out of her was primal, relief and agony and love, all compressed into one word. "Mummy!" Finn scrambled out of Holden's arms. Harper dropped to her knees, and Finn crashed into her. She wrapped her arms around him so tightly it looked like she was trying to absorb him back into her body. Sobbing, checking his face, his arms, his hands, making sure he was real, making sure he was whole. "I'm sorry, Mummy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." "Shh, baby. It's okay. You're okay. I've got you. I've got you." She kissed his forehead, his cheeks, his hair. Her hands wouldn't stop moving over him, confirming, reassuring. Holden stood slowly, giving them space, watching this moment of pure, devastating love, feeling like an intruder but unable to look away. Finally, Harper looked up. Her eyes found his. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Harper was still kneeling, still holding Finn, but she was staring at this stranger who had saved her son. This man in the expensive suit with the kind eyes and the calm presence. "You," her voice broke. "You helped him." Holden nodded. "He found me, actually. I just stayed with him." Harper tried to stand, her legs shaky. Holden instinctively reached out to steady her. She took his hand, her grip desperate. "Thank you." The words came out strangled. "Thank you so much. I can't. I don't know how to." "You don't have to," Holden said gently. Harper looked at him, really looked at him. She saw expensive clothes but no arrogance, saw strength but also softness, Saw a stranger who could have walked away but didn't. I'm Harper. Holden. She was still holding his hand. So was Finn, from the other side. The three of them connected in this strange, unexpected way. I turned around and he was just gone, Harper said, her voice shaking. I let go of his hand for 1 second. He's safe now. That's what matters. Finn tugged on Holden's jacket. Mr. Holden stayed with me the whole time. He promised he wouldn't leave, and he didn't. Harper's eyes filled with tears again. She looked at Holden with something that went beyond gratitude. Something closer to awe. Most people would have just called security and walked away. Holden shook his head. I couldn't do that. Why? The question hung between them. Holden didn't have an answer. Or maybe he had too many. Because he needed help, Holden said finally. And I was there. It was such a simple answer. And yet, it felt like everything. The security officer approached. Ma'am, we'll need to file an incident report. Just standard procedure for missing children. Harper nodded, unable to take her eyes off Holden. Holden reached into his inside jacket pocket and pulled out a card. Simple black cardstock with silver lettering. Just his name and a phone number. If you ever need anything, he said, offering it to Harper, anything at all, call me. Harper took the card with trembling fingers, stared at it like it was something precious and terrifying all at once. Holden looked down at Finn one more time. I'm really glad you're safe, Finn. Thank you for helping me find my mummy. Anytime, buddy. Holden met Harper's eyes one last time. There was something in that look, something that felt like a door opening, like the beginning of something neither of them understood yet. Then he turned and walked away. Harper watched him go. This stranger who had appeared out of nowhere and saved the most precious thing in her world. She clutched the card in one hand and Finn in the other. Finn waved at Holden's retreating back. Holden raised his hand without turning around, and then he was gone. Disappeared into the crowd. Harper finally allowed herself to breathe. Really breathe. She sank down onto the nearest chair and pulled Finn onto her lap, holding him close. I was so scared, baby. I was scared too, but Mr. Holden helped me. He was nice. He was. He really was. Are we still going to Aunt Paige's wedding? Harper laughed, the sound half sob. Yes, baby. We're going. We're definitely going. She looked down at the card in her hand. Holden Chase. A phone number. Nothing else. She had no idea that the man who just walked away was a millionaire. Had no idea that his name carried weight in business circles across the country. Had no idea that he just missed a $15 million deal to stay with her son. All she knew was that a stranger had become a hero, and that somehow, even though he was gone, this didn't feel like an ending. It felt like something just beginning. 3 days later, Harper stood in her sister's backyard in Boston, watching Finn practice his ring bearer walk down a makeshift aisle. He took it very seriously, stepping carefully, holding the small pillow with the fake rings like it was made of glass. Perfect, Paige called out, clapping. You're going to be the best ring bearer ever. Finn beamed. Harper smiled, but her mind was elsewhere. The card was in her purse. She'd looked at it approximately 400 times since they'd landed in Boston. Each time she'd considered calling. Each time she'd talked herself out of it. What would she even say? Thank you again. That felt insufficient. Everything else felt like too much. You okay? Paige appeared beside her, linking their arms together. Yeah, fine. You've been distracted since you got here. Harper sighed. Just still shaken from the airport thing. Paige squeezed her arm. I still can't believe that happened. Thank God for that man. Yeah, thank God. Did you get his number? Harper hesitated. He gave me his card. Paige's eyes widened. And nothing. Harper, a strange man saved your son and gave you his personal number and you haven't called him? What am I supposed to say? How about thank you? How about hello? How about literally anything? Harper pulled away slightly, hugging herself. It's not that simple. Why not? Because. Harper struggled to put it into words. Because what if he was just being nice? What if I call and it's awkward? What if I'm reading something into this that isn't there? Paige looked at her seriously. Or what if he's a genuinely good person who cares and you're allowed to acknowledge that? I don't want to be that woman. What woman? The one who sees a guy in an expensive suit and thinks he's her rescue. Paige laughed. Harper, You are the least damsel in distress person I know. You've raised Finn by yourself for 6 years. You work full-time. You never ask for help. Maybe it's okay to accept kindness without overthinking it. Harper wanted to argue, but she couldn't, because Paige was right. That night, after the rehearsal dinner, after Finn had fallen asleep in the hotel room, Harper sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out the card again. Holden Chase. She picked up her phone, put it down, picked it up again. This is ridiculous, she muttered to herself, but her heart was racing like she was about to do something dangerous. She thought about Finn's face when he talked about Mr. Holden, the way he'd described him. He was nice, Mummy. He didn't leave me. She thought about the way Holden had looked at her, the gentleness in his voice, the way he'd knelt down to Finn's level. Most people wouldn't have stayed, but he had. Before she could second-guess herself again, she dialed the number. It rang once, twice, then, "This is Holden." His voice was exactly as she remembered, calm, steady, warm. Harper almost hung up. "Hi. It's Harper. From the airport. Finn's mom." There was a pause. Then his voice changed, warmed even more. "Harper. Of course. I remember. Is this a bad time?" "Not at all. Is everything all right?" "Yes. Everything's fine. Finn wanted me to call. To say thank you again. Properly." She was lying. Sort of. Finn had wanted to thank him, but this call was for her too. "How is he?" Holden asked. "He's good. Great, actually. We made it to Boston. The wedding's tomorrow. I'm glad." There was a brief silence. Not awkward, just waited. "Listen," Harper said, her courage building. "Finn drew you a picture, and he really wants to give it to you. Would you, if you have time, could we maybe meet for coffee or something?" She held her breath. Holden's answer came without hesitation. "I'd love that." Harper exhaled. Really? When are you back in Miami?" "Sunday. There's a cafe near Brickell Park. Do you know it?" Harper knew the area. "I can find it. Saturday morning? 10 o'clock? Perfect." Holden paused. "Harper?" "Yeah? I'm really glad you called." Harper's heart did something complicated. "Me too." After they hung up, Harper sat in the quiet hotel room staring at her phone. What was she doing? She didn't even know this man, but Finn trusted him, and her son had good instincts, and if she was being honest with herself, something about Holden felt safe, felt right. Saturday morning arrived with butterflies and second-guessing. Harper changed her outfit 3 times before settling on jeans and a soft blue sweater. Casual, not trying too hard. Finn wore his favorite shirt, the one with the cartoon giraffe that matched Stretch. He'd worked on Holden's drawing all week, tongue poking out in concentration as he carefully colored inside the lines. "It's perfect," Harper had told him. "Do you think Mr. Holden will like it?" "I think he'll love it." Now they sat in the cafe, 10 minutes early, Finn bouncing in his seat with anticipation. What if he doesn't come? "He'll come, baby." At exactly 10 o'clock, the cafe door opened. Holden stepped inside, and Harper's breath caught. He looked different out of the suit, more relaxed. Dark jeans, gray Henley, leather jacket. But his eyes were the same. Kind, searching. Those eyes found them immediately. His face lit up. "Mr. Holden." Finn jumped out of his chair and ran to him. Holden crouched down immediately, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "Hey, Finn. Good to see you, buddy. I made you something." Finn pulled the drawing from his backpack and presented it with both hands, like an offering. Holden took it carefully, unfolding it. Harper watched his face as he studied it. The drawing showed 3 stick figures. One tall with dark hair labeled Holden. One medium height with yellow hair labeled Mummy. One small with a giraffe labeled Me. They were all holding hands. Above them, Finn had drawn an airplane in a bright blue sky. Holden's expression softened in a way that made Harper's chest ache. "Finn, this is incredible. Thank you. Do you really like it?" "I love it. I'm going to put it somewhere very special." He folded it carefully and tucked it into his jacket pocket. Then he stood, and his eyes met Harper's. Hi. For a moment they just looked at each other. Then Harper stood, and they did that awkward thing where neither knew if they should shake hands or hug or what. They settled on a brief, careful hug. Harper caught his scent, something clean and cedar. He was warm and solid, and she pulled away quickly before it could feel like anything other than friendly. They sat down. Holden ordered coffee and insisted on getting Finn a hot chocolate and a pastry. He didn't ask Harper, just got it. The gesture was so simple and so thoughtful that it made her eyes sting. "So, how was the wedding?" Holden asked, stirring sugar into his coffee. "It was beautiful," Harper said. "Finn did great with the rings. I only almost dropped them once," Finn added proudly. Holden laughed. "That's better than I would have done at your age. Have you ever been a ring bearer?" "Nope. But I was the best man at my brother's wedding, and I definitely dropped the rings." Finn giggled. "Really? Really?" They rolled under a pew and everything. Harper watched them talk, her heart doing that complicated thing again. Holden was so natural with Finn. No talking down to him, no fake interest, just genuine conversation. "What do you do, Mr. Holden?" Finn asked. "I help businesses make good decisions with their money. Like a superhero, but for money." Holden grinned. "Something like that. That's cool. What do you want to be when you grow up?" "A giraffe doctor." Holden nodded seriously. "The world needs more giraffe doctors." "That's what Mummy says." Harper laughed. "It's true." Holden turned to her. "What do you do?" "I illustrate children's books." His eyebrows rose. "Really? That's amazing. It's not exactly lucrative, but I love it." "Do you love it because it pays well, or because it makes you happy?" "Because it makes me happy." "Then it's exactly as lucrative as it needs to be." The answer caught her off guard. Most people, when they heard what she did, gave her that look. The "oh, that's nice" look that really meant, "but how do you pay rent?" Holden wasn't giving her that look. "Can I see some of your work?" he asked. Harper pulled out her phone and showed him her portfolio. Whimsical animals, bright colors, the kind of illustrations that made children want to read. "These are incredible," Holden said, scrolling through them. "You're really talented." "Thank you." "Have you always wanted to do this?" "Since I was Finn's age." "So, you made it happen?" Harper shrugged. "Sort of. It's freelance. Inconsistent. But yeah, that takes courage. Or stupidity." Holden looked at her seriously. "Courage." Their eyes held for a moment too long. Harper looked away first, her cheeks warming. Finn tugged on Holden's sleeve. "Can we go to the park?" Holden looked at Harper. "If that's okay?" Harper nodded. "Sure." They walked to the nearby park, Finn running ahead to the playground. Harper and Holden followed at a slower pace. "He seems good," Holden said. "After everything." "Kids are resilient," Harper replied. "More than we give them credit for." "Still, that had to be terrifying for both of you." Harper's throat tightened. "It was the worst 30 minutes of my life. I can't imagine." They reached a bench and sat down. Finn was already on the swings, pumping his legs, calling for them to watch how high he could go. "Can I ask you something?" Harper said quietly. "Of course." "Why did you stay?" "At the airport. You could have just called security and left." Holden was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was careful. "When I was 7, I lost my little brother in a shopping mall." Harper's breath caught. "It was only for 20 minutes, but it was the most terrified I've ever been. When we found him, he looked at me like I'd betrayed him, like I was supposed to protect him and I failed." He paused, watching Finn on the swings. "When Finn grabbed me and looked up at me with those scared eyes, it was like I was being given a second chance. A chance to be the person who stayed." Harper felt tears prick her eyes. "Did you find your brother okay? Back then?" "Yeah, he's fine. Grown now. Lives in Seattle with his wife and daughter." "But you never forgot." "No, I never forgot." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Harper reached over and took his hand. "Thank you," she said, "for staying." Holden looked down at their joined hands, then back up at her. "Thank you for calling." Something passed between them, something electric and terrifying and inevitable. Finn ran over, breathless and excited. "Mummy, Mr. Holden, come push me on the swings." The moment broke. They stood and walked over together. Holden pushed Finn on the swings while Harper watched, her heart full in a way it hadn't been in years. She'd spent so long protecting herself, building walls, making sure she and Finn never needed anyone. But watching her son laugh with this man, watching the gentleness in Holden's eyes, something in those walls began to crack. When it was time to leave, Finn hugged Holden without hesitation. "Can we see you again?" Holden looked at Harper. She nodded, smiling. "I'd like that," Holden said. As they walked to Harper's car, Holden touched her arm gently. "Harper, yeah? Would you want to have dinner sometime? Just us?" Harper's heart raced. Like a date. If that's okay, she should say no. She should protect herself. She should remember that she'd been hurt before and didn't need complications. But when she looked at him, all she could think was yes. "I'd like that," she said. Holden smiled. Really? They made plans for the following Friday. Harper drove home with Finn chattering about Mr. Holden the whole way. That night, after Finn was asleep, Harper sat on her couch and thought about what she was doing. She was a single mother with a 6-year-old and a struggling freelance career. He was a millionaire, though she didn't know that yet, with a life she couldn't imagine. This was impractical, probably impossible. But when she closed her eyes, she saw the way he'd looked at Finn, the way he'd listened to her, the way he'd stayed when anyone else would have walked away. And she thought maybe, just maybe, some things were worth the risk. Friday came faster than expected. Harper was nervous in a way she hadn't been since high school. She changed outfits 4 times, straightened her hair, then curled it, then straightened it again. Paige was on FaceTime, coaching her. "You look beautiful. Stop panicking. What if this is a mistake? What if it's not? I don't even know him. Then get to know him. That's literally what dates are for. What if he's not actually interested? What if he's just being nice because of the whole airport thing? Harper, the man asked you to dinner. He's interested. But, no buts. Go, have fun. Let yourself be happy for one night." The restaurant was small and Italian, tucked into a quiet street in Coral Gables. Soft lighting, quiet music, the kind of place that felt intimate without being stuffy. Holden was already there when she arrived, standing when he saw her. "You look beautiful," he said. "Thank you." "So do you." She immediately cringed. "I mean, you look nice. Handsome. Not beautiful. Well, you could be beautiful. Holden laughed, and it was warm and genuine. "Thank you. I'll take beautiful." Harper relaxed slightly. They sat, ordered wine, started with small talk that gradually deepened. Harper told him about Finn's father, about how he'd left when she found out she was pregnant, about raising Finn alone, about the fear and the joy and the overwhelming responsibility of it all. "I've never told him no," she admitted. "About his dad, I mean. Finn's never asked, and I don't know what I'll say when he does." "You'll tell him the truth," Holden said, "that his dad made a choice, but that choice doesn't define Finn, and it doesn't define you." Harper's eyes filled. "That's a good answer. I had a good mom. She taught me that family isn't just blood. It's who shows up." Holden shared too, about building his business from nothing, about the pressure and the loneliness, about having everything and somehow feeling empty. "I kept thinking there must be more than this," he said, "more than meetings and deals and money, but I didn't know what. And now," he looked at her, "now I think I'm starting to figure it out." The conversation flowed for hours. They talked about books and movies and childhood dreams, about fears and failures and what happiness actually meant. When the restaurant started closing around them, they were both surprised. "How is it midnight already?" Harper asked. "Good conversation," Holden said. "Makes time disappear." He walked her to her car. They stood in the parking lot, neither wanting the night to end. "I had a really good time," Harper said. "Me too. Can we do this again?" Holden smiled. "I was hoping you'd ask." He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was so tender that Harper's breath caught. They stood there for a moment, the air between them charged. Then Holden stepped back. "Good night, Harper. Good night." She drove home with a smile she couldn't suppress. And when she got home, she found a text from him. "Thank you for tonight. You're pretty remarkable." She texted back, "So are you." That was the beginning. The next 3 months unfolded like a dream. Holden became a constant in their lives. He took them to museums and parks, cooked dinner at Harper's apartment, read bedtime stories to Finn, helped with homework. fixed her leaky faucet and her temperamental Wi-Fi router. He learned that Finn loved giraffes and pancakes and anything that involved running. That Harper drank her coffee with too much sugar and hummed when she drew. That both of them laughed with their whole bodies. Harper learned that Holden was patient and thoughtful. That he remembered small details. That he never made promises he couldn't keep. That despite his wealth, he was humble and kind. She still didn't know exactly how wealthy he was. He never flaunted it. Drove a nice car but not flashy. Dressed well but not ostentatiously. Lived in a beautiful apartment but never pressured her to see it until she was ready. What he did show her was consistency. He showed up. Every time. Without fail. Slowly, carefully, Harper's walls came down. One Saturday morning, Holden arrived with groceries and a smile. "I thought we could make breakfast together," he said. They cooked pancakes while Finn sat at the counter, narrating every step like a sports announcer. And now Dad is flipping the pancake. Will he make it? He made it. The crowd goes wild. Holden and Harper both froze. Finn had called him Dad. It had slipped out so naturally, so easily. Finn didn't even seem to notice. But Holden's eyes found Harper's across the kitchen. She saw the question there, the hope, the fear. She smiled, and Holden's eyes filled with tears he tried to blink away. After breakfast, after Finn ran off to play, Holden pulled Harper aside. "Harper, I need to tell you something." She tensed slightly. "Okay, I'm falling in love with you. With both of you. And I know it's fast. I know it might be too much too soon. But I can't keep pretending this is casual. Because it's not. Not for me." Harper's heart pounded. "It's not casual for me either. Really. Really. I love you, Holden." He pulled her close and kissed her. Deep and sure and full of promise. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. Finn's voice called from the other room. "Dad, can you help me build this spaceship?" Holden looked at Harper. "Is it okay if he calls me that?" Harper touched his face gently. "It's more than okay." So they became a family. Not officially. Not yet. But in all the ways that mattered. Until the past showed up at Harper's door. She opened it one evening to find Derek standing there. Finn's biological father. The man who'd walked away 6 years ago and never looked back. "What are you doing here?" Harper's voice was cold. "I heard you have a boyfriend now." Derek's smirk was ugly. "Thought I should come meet him. Make sure he's good enough for my son." "Your son?" Harper's anger flared. "You have no right to call him that. I have every right. I'm his father. You're a sperm donor. That's it." Derek's expression hardened. "We'll see what a judge says about that." Harper's blood ran cold. "What?" "I want custody. Or at least visitation and financial support. From you and your rich boyfriend." So that was it. He'd heard Holden had money and saw an opportunity. "Get off my property. I'll be back with a lawyer." He left. Harper closed the door and leaned against it, shaking. She didn't tell Holden. Not at first. She tried to handle it alone. But Derek kept texting, kept calling, threatening court, threatening to take Finn. Harper was terrified. Then Derek showed up at Finn's school, tried to approach him. Finn didn't know him. Got scared. Ran to his teacher. The school called Harper. She picked up Finn, who was confused and frightened. "Who was that man, Mummy?" "No one, baby. No one important." But that night, Harper broke down. Called Holden through tears. He was at her apartment in 15 minutes. She told him everything. About Derek, about the threats, about the fear. Holden listened. His face grew harder with each word. "He's not getting near you or Finn," Holden said quietly. "Dangerously. He has legal rights. He abandoned you both. No judge will side with him. Holden, let me help. Please. I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm telling you. I'm here. Let me be here." Harper collapsed into his arms. "Okay." Within 48 hours, Holden had mobilized his legal team, filed for a restraining order, gathered evidence of Derek's abandonment, documented every threat. They met Derek in court. His cheap lawyer was no match for Holden's. The judge took one look at the evidence and granted the restraining order. Derek left, furious but defeated. After, Harper was shaking with relief. "He's gone," Holden said, holding her. "He can't hurt you anymore. Why are you doing this?" Holden pulled back to look at her. Because the first love you. Because Finn is mine in every way that matters. Because you're my family. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. I love you too, Harper whispered. They kissed, and it felt like a promise. That night, after Finn was asleep, they talked about the future. I want this, Holden said. All of it. You and Finn. Mornings and bedtimes and everything in between. Harper smiled. I want that too. Move in with me. Both of you. Harper's eyes widened. Holden, I know it's fast, but we're already living this life. We might as well make it official. Harper thought about her small apartment, about how Holden had become home more than any place ever had. Okay, she said. Yeah? Yeah. They started packing the next week. Finn was ecstatic about the big house with the huge yard and his own room. But before they moved, Holden had one more thing to do. He took Finn to lunch, just the two of them. Buddy, I want to talk to you about something important. Okay. Finn chomped on his burger. I love your mom very much. And I love you too. I love you too, Dad. Holden's heart swelled. How would you feel if I asked your mom to marry me? Finn's eyes went huge. Really? Really? But I wanted to make sure you were okay with it first. Finn launched himself across the table and hugged Holden. Yes, do it. Holden laughed, hugging him back. So, I can be your dad? For real? You already are. And that's how Holden knew. This was right. This was everything. He bought a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. And on a Saturday morning, he took Harper and Finn back to the botanical garden where they'd had their first picnic. Harper didn't suspect anything. They spread the blanket, ate sandwiches. Finn ran around chasing butterflies. Then Finn came running back. Mummy, I found something. He led her to a tree where a small box hung from a branch. What is this? Open it. Inside was a note. Turn around. Harper turned. Holden was on one knee. Finn was beside him, grinning like he held the world's best secret. Harper's hands flew to her mouth. Holden spoke. Harper, 6 months ago I was a man who had everything and nothing. I was successful and empty. Then a little boy ran into my life and I found you. You showed me what actually matters. Love. Family. Home. I want to spend the rest of my life earning the privilege of being your husband and Finn's father. Will you marry me? Say yes, Mummy. Finn added. Harper was crying, laughing, nodding. Yes, yes, absolutely yes. Holden slid the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. They kissed. Finn cheered and jumped on them both. They fell onto the blanket in a heap of laughter and tears and joy. Can I call you Dad for real now? Finn asked. You already do, buddy. But yes, for real, Dad. The word was everything. That evening, after Finn was asleep, Holden gave Harper an envelope. There's something I need to tell you. Harper opened it. Inside was a letter. She read it aloud. The letter explained everything. About losing Caleb in the mall, about the guilt Holden had carried, about why he couldn't walk away from Finn that day. When she finished, there were tears on her cheeks. You were looking for him too, she whispered. All these years. Holden nodded. I didn't know it. But yes, you didn't fail him. You found him. And you found us. She held him. We were all lost. And we found each other. And that was the truth of it. 3 people, each carrying their own pain, their own fears, their own loneliness, meeting in a moment of crisis and choosing each other, again and again, until the choosing became as natural as breathing, until the family they built became stronger than anything they'd lost.